How we doing? Today is Monday, August the 25th, 2025. Just doing a real estate tap in with you for today. So I got a couple of things for investors, articles and topics for buyers and sellers, and also realtors. So I'll run through this as quickly as I can. Um, I'll probably make another video and post it to my YouTube channel, maybe going in depth about these articles, but I'll just do it quickly here. The first one talks about Wall Street's grip on the housing market sparks growing alarm. A lot of these companies going back to the great financial crisis, when there was a big foreclosure. Um, a lot of foreclosure properties, a lot of properties are underwater. Banks at that particular time, were foreclosing and selling off a lot of the notes at pennies on the dollar. A lot of times you can get these things at 10, 20 cents, 25 cents, 30 cents on the dollar. And at that particular time, a lot of the Wall Street type of companies and funds and things like that jumped in and bought them, and so they've been riding the wave of these particular properties, for over 15 years now. So a lot of them are starting to get out of these particular properties, and they're looking to sell them. So as more and more of these investors and things like that start to put their properties on the market, it should drive down the overall price of homes. Once you get more supply on the market, we'll see how this will coincide with if there's a possible rate cut. The Fed is going to most likely drop rates in September, and then we'll have to see how that affects the mortgage. Even though they're not directly correlated, it's more correlated. Mortgage rates are correlated more to the 10-year bond yield. So if the bond yield comes down, you would think that mortgage rates are going to come down, or the spread between the bond yields and mortgage rates are going to widen. Hopefully, you'll see them, you know, not not widen, but become smaller, so you'll get a better interest rate. So we'll have to see. But the thing about this is that we're starting to see a lot of these investors, and when they did get, even though they bought a lot of those properties back in 2009, 10, all the way I think to like 2012, they still been buying, around the COVID time. And then during that particular time, because of their deep pockets, they could pay a premium for properties and still eke out, 4%, 5% return on investment, something like that, which most mom and pop investors or smaller investors are going to look for higher returns, so they wouldn't pay the same prices that a lot of these Wall Street firms did. And now the tables have turned, rising expenses, rates starting to flatten out. They were, obviously going up, but the economy is changing, and people are feeling it. People are adjusting. It's not the same type of situation as it once was. So we're starting to see them, the Wall Street type firms and big investment companies and things like that, pivot and trying to get out of these properties now. But what are they looking to sell them at? Obviously, they bought them at a premium, so they're going to want to sell them at a premium. Are they going to take the loss? This is going to have a big effect on the market. So that was one thing that I saw. Um, Another thing here, in the builders, new home builders, you're actually seeing where new home construction, you can get a better deal on a house than an existing home. And that typically never happens. Usually a brand new home is going to cost you a premium and going to cost you more than what, you can buy, grandma and grandpa's house for, once they decide to sell, or your parents' house or something like that. But we're seeing the opposite now because of a lot of the incentives that new home builders are giving the buyers. So if you're somebody that is looking, and if you have new home construction going on in your city or your state or your area, or places that you want to move, you want to, reach out to them. Go to them, see what type of incentives they can give you. A lot of times they're buying down the rates. They're going from those 6.5% or 7% rates, down to under 5. A lot of times they're buying it down. So, even though they could sell the home to you, let's just say for $500,000, by the time they do all the incentives and buy downs, that home maybe 450 or 425 or even 400,000, because they have to move that inventory. They just can't let it sit there. So, if you are somebody looking to buy, go to a home builder site and see what their inventory is, and see if there's some negotiation that can go on and get yourself a good deal there. So that was another one that I saw. And U.S. home buyers backed out of transactions at a record pace in July. It says here around 15% of pending home purchases fell through. So this one is more directed to the buyers and the realtors, and the sellers as well. If you're finding this happening to you, if it happened to you maybe more than once, we could help in that situation by creating a note, handling the financing side between the buyer and the seller. For whatever reason, when through the course of the contract, something happened with the buyer, maybe something came up on their credit. Things like student loans and stuff like that are showing up on people's credits. And when they go to kind of, purchase the house and they have to go through that final underwriting, things pop up and then they don't qualify. In this instance, this is where knowing someone like myself or someone who understands real estate notes, we can put these parties back together. If the seller is willing, and then obviously the buyer liked the property. So if the seller can, structure, we can help them structure this note where they get a down payment. Maybe they collect some monthly payments depending on how long they want to collect them for. And then what we could do is help them sell that particular note so they can get their equity out of the property. So this is intended for realtors, as well as, realtors. If you add this, somebody like me, or knowing how to create notes to your team, it can help you in these situations, as opposed to starting all over again, finding another buyer, going through that process again. When this, happens, if it falls through, if you, give somebody like myself a call, or someone who knows this, maybe they can patch that deal back together and get it closed within a relatively short amount of time. Just depending on the seller situation. Obviously, some sellers do need all of their equity at the time of closing to then go ahead and purchase another property or do whatever it is that they need to do. But if that's not the case, if they could take a certain portion of their equity and then structure a note, that's something that we can help with. And so they don't have to start all over again and look for another buyer, and hopefully, not have that same thing happen again. These are things that you're starting to see now, especially now, like I said, with this reporting of student loan debt, coming up, auto loans. If somebody has an auto loan and missed a payment during the time that they were trying to purchase this house for whatever reason, that could pop up. So there's a number of reasons that, a deal can fall through, during the process, whatever it is. But, we'd like to be someone that can, to be a resource for a realtor or seller of a home that, goes to this situation. My contact information is attached. Again, I'll probably, go through these articles a little bit more and read a little bit more, and I'll post that to my YouTube channel, Abundant Capital Group, if you want to go there and subscribe, and then check for that a little bit later today. But that's what I got for today on the Real Estate Tap In. If you have any questions, anything like that, reach out to me. My contact information, like I said, will be attached to this video. If you want to learn about real estate notes, go to my YouTube channel. There's a bunch of videos there. Or if you have specific questions about real estate notes, leave a comment, and we'll get it answered for you. Maybe we can set up a time to speak and get, talk a little bit further in depth. All right, have a good one.